So you guys were one. I'm hearing a lot of you guys wanted a theme song shortened. So here we go. This girl reviews movies, games, and books. Sometimes she plays them. So does that. And when she does it with the cat, does that make her crazy? Does that make her crazy? Probably. So it's shorter. There you go. Crazycatlady or Martha Butler does not own any trailers or pictures. I use them under fair use, educational, for education and entertainment purpose.
Well, hey everybody, it's me, Shane Kippel, spinner from Degrassi. I know, yes, I'm aging like a fine wine. Don't stop with the compliments. I can't take all of that. I'm blushing. I'm blushing. Right here though, I'm here for a different reason. Make sure you subscribe to Crazycatlady's channel, so you can see, lots of Degrassi type content. Okay. And you might hear some stories. You might get some different takes, like this take right now.
Hi everybody, Martha here. So, I got finished watching Degrassi season 2 probably about a couple days ago. I've had a lot. I've seen a lot of trailers I had to put on before this review. So, mostly now I have to go back to remembering what everything that got put on here during this season. Now, we got a couple of new characters in this season that were not in the last season. We got Hazel, who was in the last season, but she actually got her own episode in this season about her having to accept her heritage, her being a Muslim, and before she was deemed, she didn't like it because of some bully, because were mean to her about it, and she was mean to another person with her same race. And that episode is really good. I do agree she should have gotten more stories about her in the future, but we're not talking about the future seasons. But we're just mainly focusing on this one. But for the ones that she really got, this is one of the best ones out there, I would say. Especially since around the time this episode aired, it would have been around pretty close to 9/11. So, yeah. Anyway, we also got Ellie, who's one of my favorite characters in the show. I relate to her a lot. Me and her are both outcast in schools, and I'm not as big into goth as this, but I can relate to the fact that she has a hard time fitting in the world, just like I do, and I love her for that. And we also got Marco, um, one of the first gay characters in pretty much all of the world, basically. I think that episode where he came out to gay to only Ellie, if anything, because he hasn't come out to anybody else besides Ellie. Because he's now still secretive about it. So this episode was pretty groundbreaking for that stuff. And the other character is Craig, who is not yet mentioned as being bipolar, but he is now, we know him as, even though there is signs of it already here, because of the way times he acts sometimes. But mostly, you would think about him having an abusive father, and later on he had to losing his dad, even if he was abusive. And somebody who has lost their father recently can relate to losing a parent. I may not have the same exact relationship as Craig did with his dad, but I can relate to him on that, because even Terry helped him through this. She lost her mom, so she understands how it is losing a parent, where she explains to him, even if at the moment when you lose them, you don't realize that parent's actually dead, and till like later on. I mean, for me, it was different because I was there when he died, but it's still hard to realize it. So, um, for people who weren't there, so and I do like the story that's going on with Craig, and he's like the one who gets most story development. I think out of all these characters that are new. And there's also another one that doesn't get really that much development because she only dates Toby, and she does later on in the show. She um, t- disappears off the face of the earth for some reason, and that's Kendra on the show. And that's Spinner's little sister. So, and none of us know why they never really used her, and we don't know why she left the show. As far as I know, if you want to explain to me if anybody want to comment on the comics why her actress left the show or anything like that, because she was on the theme song next season. I think in the third season she starts showing up. I would have to make sure because I haven't watched it yet. But I remember like on the theme song she was on there. Her name wasn't, but she was right in the background of it. So, um, anyway, so those are all the new characters in the show. A lot of them are on the grade 9 only, and we get no more new characters in the grade 8th, and we get one. I don't know. Do you want to? Like I said, Kendra's kind of is a weird one. Um, being grade 7. So now let's get started with the other characters that were already here. And if I forget any storylines that you would like me to cover, I am sorry. There's a lot of storylines in this to cover because there's a lot of characters to talk about. So, um, mainly, I would say Emma. She has to learn to deal with the fact that sometimes you're trying to help a environment in your world get better. She has to deal with um, older authorities, you could say, and she still stick by what she believed about what her name would happen with the cafeteria food, and she thinks that the cafeteria food's not right for them. It's bad, and it should be in better hands or some basically. And all her time, Radish um, is against her on it and telling her to change her mind because she's basically telling them that they're lucky to have cafeteria food as it is because how much cutting is there, and so he doesn't really want to have to change anything at all. Neither does the one who makes the food. So, and he's not pulling back on her, and like every time she like makes an understand about it, dispense her, and not caring. And I like the fact that even though uh, Mr. Simpson is helping her through this, and like having a hard time standing because he works there and he doesn't want to losing his job over this. So, and so you can understand that. And the fact that sometimes she would step back on, and I do like the scene that happens in this episode is the food fight episode, and I love that scene so much because it's just so funny, so chaotic. It's awesome. It's like one of the best scenes in this show, I would say. And see, Manny, she is still she's in that between stage where she is still considered adorable, but I could see her developing to what happens to her next season, where she decides to not be longer be adorable. But we have like two different scenes here for her. I would say is the whole her thing with her and Craig having a date, and Craig doesn't want to be around her because he thinks she he likes her, but for some reason she reminds him of her sister, and Andy just wants to be Andy just wants to date because he finds him attractive and stuff like that. So, and the hard thing happens with her fight with Paige later on with when Dean comes, and we're gonna talk about what happens with Dean and Paige when I get to Paige. So, but those 2 points right there is like how Manny's character is developing into what she will come later on, and I think these two stories right here help her lead into what happens to her later on in this show. So, and so Toby, we get one storyline for Toby is like later on in the show, I would say Toby doesn't get any storylines at all. I guess this show has a hard time doing characters for nerds, but because he has to realize that sorry, I had to tell somebody to turn down their music. So, um, where was I? So Toby had to deal with the fact that like nerds sports don't get that much attention. So he tried out with the wrestling team, and he pretty much does it the wrong way because he tries to lose weight and stay balanced and stuff like that. And this going about the wrong way, this turning into it, making him have an old disability with not eating food. And you really shouldn't go about it that way. If you're going to become a wrestler, try to do it the right way where you're still in good health yourself. And I think that is for people who are into sports probably should hear that. And JT, I don't know, most of these beginning seasons, most you can't talk about JT without mentioning Toby. And Toby's mostly like only time I would say he had his own episode was by himself was probably one where he was being mean and having a crush on his science teacher, Miss House Laxos, and hopefully I say her last name right. But like she's like no, she has a crush on him, and so do the other kids and the other two, Sean and Toby. And but he's going about the wrong way, and he doesn't think that she should have she be a model instead of being a science teacher. But not everybody who has a great body should just be a model. So they have their should be able to make their own decisions about what they should do with their profession. So yeah, and I think that she has a right to do that. And JT's just going about the wrong way. And I think that is oh yeah, Liberty. Um, I don't know. Liberty doesn't really get her own individual episode this season, I believe. I mean, she does have to deal with like the fact that she doesn't like when um Emma comes out the fact that she might be doing better than her because who her stepdad is gonna be, and she wants to be still be the top student in in grade 8. So that's the only thing I would say is about her because the only thing good with the grade science thing. And oh yeah, and Sean, he ends up like having a fight with him and Emma break up because of what he does to her in last season, and about him pushing her, and about about him that when him and Jimmy got in a fight last year, and he has to deal with the fact that he has passed with parents who are both addicted to have addictions, and he has because kids who have parents who are both addictions are more likely chance to get addicted to the drug, get addicted to something themselves. It's in their blood, apparently, according to science. And so he grows with the wrestling fact that he drinks at Jimmy's house, and um, Emma still stands right by him, and stuff like that. And he was mainly having a bad day, mainly, and not and stuff like that, I would say. So let's move on to grade 8, and I'll try to do the ones that are not new characters, since I already touched upon them. And so let's get started with Ashley, and she is a character who is dealing with the fact that she's trying to get all her friends to like her again over the whole entire thing that happened last season with the party. And I would say that's hard for her. At least she has her new friend Ellie who helps her get through with it. And I think you would say by the end of the season she has little ups and downs, but when after what happened with Paige later on, she gets a good graces with all of them. She doesn't get back. She kind of does get back with Jimmy, but then she breaks up with him again because Jimmy really wants her to be who she was before, but she's no longer who that is. She's no longer that person. She has changed, and you can't change her back. That's her decision. So, and that's basically all I can say about Jimmy too. Because Jimmy doesn't really get his own individual episode, I think, except for the one that happens with Spinner. This one, Spinner still is MP3 player, and Spinner has to deal with the fact that he can he's jealous of Jimmy's life, and he wants to have Jimmy's life, but he can't, and it kind of costs them their friendship. And I think basically the whole entire show is them trying to keep these two as friends. But I think this is like one of the first straws that Jimmy hands to Spinner. So I think it covered all those characters in one. Now let's get on to Paige, who has something I never like during the first season. I did say I didn't like her because how sometimes she talks to people. During this season, I think she does get a lot better, and because she's had something badly happen to her. I think if she did not have this bad thing happen to her, maybe she would have stayed this. Maybe she could have changed anyway, but we'll never know. Sadly, she ends up being raped by Dean, who goes to a different school than her, and he invites them to a party, even though he lost. I don't get why he would celebrate his team losing, but okay. He is older than her and more powerful than her, and he ends up raping her. And only one she later throughout the season she tells people, but not all at once. She tells Teasel. Then she goes to therapy to help with, and the second episode, she has 3 different episodes devoted to this. Because right after this one is the song is you never leave the nightmares, you never know the pain you cause me. Song. The things you stole, everything at all. You took my body and tore it in half. You took my childhood, my thought, and my laughs. You took everything myself. And then you're gone. I'm not your poor thing. That song, and how Dean took it. He was there and he had to hear that song, and he ran off. And at first, Paige didn't like that song. But once she saw him there, she just wanted to have him feel the pain of it, what he gave to her. So, and I think even though they didn't win that singing that concert, that contest, but I think that was a great song. We didn't get to hear the other songs, so yeah. And let's see. Sadly, only thing I would say that Terry has in this season, I think that's the only one I have not talked about yet. Out of the kids, I'm also going to do I'm also going to do Mr. Simpson and Spike. Probably since this is the season they get married in. But Terry, I would say only episode she gets is when she has to deal with a bully who has a lower paying job than she does, who is teasing her because he thinks she's overweight. I never thought she was overweight, and he has to keep on teasing her about it. And I do love what she tells him in this episode. Like I make $500. What's the last amount? How much money do you make, Ice Cream Boy? So I like how much she stands up to the guy and puts him in his place. So good job, Terry. Um, so the next one I'm going to talk about is the adults in this episode in this season, and since this is the season where those two get married, and they're from the old show, and we find out these two actually get about a kid that we don't really get to see grow up that much in this show, because he was just a baby when around the second season. As far as I know, he's not in. If you never seen him go to the school, do you guys want to let me know? Because I had not watched this whole entire show ever. So if Mr. Simpson's kid, the baby Jack, I think the kid's name is, ever actually goes to Degrassi, we ever see him have his own storyline, like Emma kind of has, let me know. I know they do get another kid, but it's not Jack. It's like a different kid entirely that ends up being his. So, they end up having like a little problem because Spike ends up being pregnant, and she's not want to tell him because Mr. Simpson apparently has too much juggle. He has to be a new husband, a stepdad, and he thinks if a new kid came along, we'd make more problems, and so it kind of makes it hard on her. And the whole entire fact is that Emma steps in and tells Mr. Simpson what's going on, and really, she shouldn't be doing that. He should have heard it from Spike and not Emma. But Emma just wanted to make sure nothing happened to her younger half sibling. So I can understand why she did it, but I can understand why Mr. why he didn't want to hear it from her. So he wanted to hear it from his soon-to-be wife. So yeah, and that makes it debacle. Makes them late to their wedding. It makes them where they both get married in regular clothing. Like, kind of makes me wish I could do that. Get married in regular clothing, because I rather wear regular clothing than wear a dumb dress. So yeah. Anyway. So, and I do like, and this helps Emma get back together with John, forgive him, even though Manny probably shouldn't have invited him behind her back anyway, but it should have been up to Emma to forgive him. So, sorry if I forgot any storylines that you wanted me to cover. You can bring it up in comments, and we can discuss. Maybe I can bring it next season. But this season is a great season. You should watch it. And can't wait for next season and see if any new characters, most of the new characters that came out this season, get put their names put into the theme song. So whenever Degrassi goes there, so I'm probably gonna. This season is definitely really great. It teaches kids and adults a lot of lessons. No matter what age, I really think that you can enjoy this show. So, I'll see you guys later. I'll probably I don't know. I don't really know if I should really rate these the older ones because I have so much nostalgic for these older seasons than the ones that I have seen. So, and it would not really be fair to them. So I'm just probably just gonna tell stories of it and not rate them because I do love this show a lot. So I don't know, but I'll see you guys later. Like, favorite, subscribe, and bye bye.